Hey guys, just wanted to do a quick video on a lighter I've been using, an S.T Dupont. S.T Dupont's a brand that I've purchased pretty recently. I've collected lighters pretty much my whole life, before I was even a teenager, and I will do a video on kind of the progression of my collection. And I've kept just about all the lighters that I've had, and I have a handful of them, not a ton. You know, I don't smoke, never smoked, so they really are kind of like toys to me. Don't know why I'm fascinated by them, but I am, and you know, I do purchase lighters every now and then. So I wanted to go over this particular lighter, but a buddy of mine actually purchased a fake version. It's not the exact same version, but a fake S.T Dupont off of eBay. He was showing it to me pretty recently. He purchased it, and I wanted to include that because one of the things that I was looking for on YouTube, and I couldn't find it. When I was trying to buy S.T Dupont stuff, I usually prefer boutiques, but they don't have a lot of them, and there was not one near me, so I had to order it online. And of course, you know, you want to go through an authorized dealer for the warranty and everything like that, but you know, you don't know the online dealers. I mean, they say they're online dealers, but I wanted to just be sure. So when I did purchase it, I did a lot of research. I really didn't find a video kind of explaining a fake versus a real one. It's pretty obvious now that I had to hold both, but I just thought I'd do that as well. But first of all, let me just say I do not endorse fakes. I do not like fakes. I think they're a little bit ridiculous for two reasons. Number one, you absolutely could potentially cost someone their job. I mean, you know, if enough people decide not to buy the real S.T Dupont and they buy the fake version, and that goes for anything, Mont Blanc, Gucci's, whatever. Regardless of what you think of the company or their practices, that is their designs, their intellectual property. They worked hard on it, and they might charge a lot of money for their products. But if that's something you want to enjoy, you know, I would say that you have to, you know, pay the price that they're asking for it. Otherwise, there are plenty of different alternatives that do just as good of a job as say for S.T Dupont. There's a Bic lighter that gets the job done just as well. So I don't think there's a need for the fakes of these luxury goods. So you know, I think that I would just encourage you guys to buy what you can afford, without, you know, kind of crossing that line. I'm just, again, not a big fan of these fakes. I am impressed by them, to be honest with you. I was very impressed with this lighter, and we'll kind of go into it. But first of all, obviously, you've got the two boxes here. Fake ones on top, real ones on bottom. That's all I'm going to say about that. You can go into it. I was told by my buddy when he received it that the lighter did not come in the box. It was almost like the box was a separate product whatsoever. So I think you could probably buy the boxes, buy the lighters, whatever you want. There's not matching. There's no serial numbers. There's no nothing on them. So it's just kind of a box. Again, fairly impressive. The inside has a warranty card. It has the instruction books and all that stuff. Maybe not exactly the quality, but it would be very hard to tell if you didn't have both boxes with you. Obviously, it's a different style. I'm assuming it's some sort of different style that they had at one time or another. But let me just go into it. This is the real lighter. And one thing I didn't like, I collected a lot of lighters, and obviously Bics are easy, Zippos are really nice and easy. They're intuitive. The S.T Dupont was, I mean, I've got pretty big hands, and they're big, so you think that they're great, but it's kind of weird where your thumb ends up. It's got to come down and strike it from the bottom. So I actually kind of changed everything, even the Cartiers. You know, they strike from the top, but this one you have to really push your thumb down and strike from the bottom. It's not exactly intuitive, but that's pretty much my only complaint about it. Obviously, they're more like jewelry than anything else. They have that ping to them. Sounds amazing. I play with it all the time. Drive the wife nuts. They feel just mechanical. I love small, mechanical, perfectly built objects. Just kind of just amazing craftsmanship. So I really do enjoy the lighter. There is a big difference, even with the Cartiers. Just the craftsmanship and quality, just the exact specifications, and they just match up amazingly. And I don't know if that's the design or whatnot, but that's this lighter here. And I think this one, though, I didn't know when I bought it, but it has the cigar flame, which is the the burner. So when you turn this thing up, and I'm not going to do it, the flame doesn't get higher, it just gets wider, which is actually kind of cool. So when I first got it, when I turn up the flames on the other lighters, they explode, and they get that high. This one gets wider, which is actually really cool. I know it's for cigars and things like that, but I just think it's just more useful than ones that get taller and they don't get any wider. So one of my favorite lighters, love this thing. But here is the Chinese knockoff version of that lighter, and this one does not have the dual flame. But first thing I notice, if you're looking at them, I've got to tell you, if you came to a store and they didn't have them side by side, like obviously when you have the real one and then the fake box, you're like, oh, I can see that a mile away. But if they're not side by side, it's hard to tell. I got to tell you to be very, very careful when you're buying these things. Obviously, you want to go through an authorized reseller, but anyone on the internet can say what they want. And like I said, without boutiques, there's only a few things that you can look for, and I would even dare say it, you'd have to get it in your hands before you actually spotted it was fake. So the first thing I can tell you is that it's heavier. It's actually weird. The fake one is heavier than the real one. It feels good. I mean, it feels just as solid as the other one. Little tiny things that I notice, and it's just kind of things that I notice, is the edges here are rounded off ever so slightly. This one, they're hard corners. They don't have like it almost looks like in machining, they kind of made these, it's hard to explain here, and see if I can show you. They almost like beveled edges, but only on the corners. They're not beveled all the way around. So I think that was kind of weird. I don't know if that's a style thing, because it's not the exact same style. I think these are similar. You can tell there's a little difference here, and this has a little bit bigger of a diamond pattern. So I actually don't know if that's something that all fakes have, but that's the one thing I noticed right away when I put it in my hand, was that they had some beveled corners, and when looking at it from the bottom, you can kind of see the pattern beginning, whereas this one, if you look at it dead on, I mean, it's flat. It looks like a gold bar, and that's it. It's very hard to explain unless you really have both of them in your hands at the same time. Obviously, I did some research before I purchased anything, and after I purchased it, you can do some research on it. I'm not going to really show it, but just look up the serial number. I think all the fakes use the same serial numbers or something similar to them. Everyone said, okay, let me see the serial number. I could tell it's fake. Obviously, you could tell it's fake because I think the 4PK is an indicator that it's a knockoff. I think they all use the same ones. But the real ones are stamped, and the fake one is part of the engraving. But I think it looks good. I mean, the real one's a lot smaller, so you can't see the number all that well. And even the S.T Dupont, so it's like finer. It's kind of like a fine point pen versus kind of a broad pen when you're writing, so that everything's a little bit thicker. But I mean, it's still sharp. It's very sharp still. So again, it's very impressive. Again, the ping is there. Everyone said that they can tell from the ping. This one's a little bit higher pitched. I mean, this one has a kind of a deeper pitch to it, but I gotta tell you, it sounds pretty good. It feels pretty good. So if you are online and you do see one, I would just, number one, make sure that they're authorized. Make sure that if you're purchasing from someone you don't know, that at least you have references or something like that. Because like I said, if I saw this lighter at a pawn shop and they were charging 150, 200 bucks, and I didn't know any better, this feels like $150 quality to me without doing any research. So I would definitely caution anybody. I mean, I've seen fake Rolexes out there that obviously you pick them up and they're fake right away. So I would say be very, very careful when you're purchasing these things. The Chinese copies are getting very, very good. If you guys have any questions or comments, please let me know. I am going to do a video on all of them, but they're a little pricey. I would say for a lighter, for what it is, especially because they want the S.T Dupont lighter fluid, the S.T Dupont flints. They really are a very expensive lighter to operate. I personally, like I said, they're kind of a toy to me, so I think it's worth it just to be able to handle it and have it and be a part of my collection. But certainly, there are other lighters out there that do the trick.